I like that one. Yeah. You are listening to the Lost Minds. You say that sounds better. You are listening to the Lost Minds podcast.
Let's get this session started with deep breathing exercise. And by deep breathing exercise, I mean, see on the inside.
Hello. What are you doing? Just making a podcast. Bet your ass cool.
Dung.
Oh my god, dude. You just freaking ruined the whole podcast. I'm just kidding. Welcome back to the Lost Minds podcast, where today's episode we'll be talking about a whole bunch of freaking super interesting, awesome, fun stuff that you're just going to not want to miss because it's just going to be great and everyone's going to love you for it. And then when you tell it to your friends and your grandparents and you tell your mother, she's going to slap you because she's already heard about it.
They're going to start following you around. They'll be like, Dobby's loves you. Next thing you know, you'll have to, only way you can get them to get away from me, you'll have to hand them a book with a dirty sock in there.
Yep.
Dung. Dun.
On today's episode, we'll teach you how to make that dirty sock.
I think we should start up previously on Lost Minds episode, though, and follow up. I was going to bring him, but freaking forgot. But I showed you guys the picture of him. Remember, because we were talking about those bullets and the JFK thing and the magic bullet and all that kind of crap. And I freaking found, I was cleaning, or like I guess I went and got a couple more little ammo boxes, and so I was organizing like my, I guess, ammo and with the cleaning kit and all that kind of stuff. And inside of it was like random shit that we had shot. And so I had a bunch of that glass stuff we had shot, and then a bunch of
Allegedly.
Like weird no, because I have them, dude.
Allegedly.
We picked that shit up. And then I have also the 8-ball and stuff like that. That was like,
damn, what fucking baller, dude.
Allegedly.
Yeah, you can put them all back together and you can see exactly where it hit, you know, so it's kind of cool. But we also have a bunch of the shells as well, or I do have a bunch of the, not even the shells, the actual bullet themselves. So I have a few that are mushroomed, and then I have a couple, well, at least one that's like a 45 that's
Perfect condition.
Yeah. And I was wondering it, because was it full of water or was it empty?
It's full of water.
Oh,
Because I remember me and Bryce stopped at the gas station to fill it up. And the guy's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? We're filling this up with water. You have a problem?
It's so crazy, because like the first shot probably just started draining it, huh? It's like
We tried to start shooting from the top down so we'd have as much water as we possibly could, but it drained pretty slow. I mean, 55 gallons, dude, drains really slow. Yeah,
that was kind of interesting. And I forgot all about it because when I was looking at it too, you can tell that it's been shot. It's kind of like squampus there, where the shell where it came out of the barrel. You can see the lines, and it's where the shell's holding. It's like kind of got damaged on that backside. But just on the front of it, there's barely like kind of some indents, kind of like maybe where it looks like it got hit a little bit, and nothing cut into the brass or anything like that. Or whatever the heck it is. Lead, I think. Is it brass? Yeah. So
lead's on the inside.
Okay, yeah. So it's not even broke through there then. It's barely just boom. Looks kind of damaged a little bit. But the other ones I have too, that I'm not sure if we got them from there, if we pulled them out of the rock, they're like completely mushroomed. And there's way less material left. So I'm thinking they came out of the rock, because I remember like pulling some out of there, and it looks like it leaves like a little skid. Because you pull it, and there's like way less material left on the one that it mushroomed. And then like on how much is actually still left was surprising. And I was hating on that magic bullet thing because the JFK thing, I don't know, I feel like it's a lie. But at the same time, dude, I was shocked to see that bullets could do that. One, through water. I feel
like hitting bone, though.
Yeah, well, I feel like, because even if you hit one little thing, it sends a bullet going, and it can even like chip a bullet. It blows my mind that, because even in water, if you can shoot a bullet at water, it barely even hits the water. Like, allegedly, I was there somewhere and someone shot some water and it freaking literally exploded right on the top of the water and everything just went flying everywhere.
Yeah.
So it blew my mind that it hit that thing and just went whoonk.
But what's crazy is you can shoot ice.
It must have.
And it'll save the bullet. The bullet will spin on top of the ice till it runs out of
That's so weird
power.
To me.
Then you could pick up a bullet that isn't destroyed.
I've seen that people like spinning the bullets. That stuff is so crazy.
You hear it's like running around on the ice.
Just picks a little bit of traction and shoots.
Ooh, you know what? Now the one I'm thinking about too, the ones where I was thinking that they had a lot less material. I wonder if they're hollow points. too, because that's the other thing. I'm like, I bet there's some in there.
Those definitely would mushroom, even no matter what they did. They'd hit, even if they hit that 55-gallon drum, they would have just evaporated, I think.
So interesting, the mechanics of the guns that you don't realize, especially with, I was so set that even with, because the magic bullet theory, the one that they have for the JFK thing, I think is kind of crazy because they show the outline, how it like went through like 7-8 things, like hit the guy like 6-7 times, you know, ricocheted up into him and all that. I don't know, it seems crazy, especially because of how much stuff it hit, and then it looks solid. But with that bullet, it blows my mind because it doesn't hit nearly as much stuff and it's much different density, but it hits versus a piece of plastic, I want to say, I don't even know what that rated, Schedule 20 maybe or something. It's like normal plastic. And then it hit the water, usually, which I would think it would break on. And then it must have hit, I don't even think it hit the back. It probably just like, zhoo. And that's like 2 points of contact, you know, and it was still survived, you know, comparable to the one that was probably 15 points of contact and it survived, which I think is crazy. But at the same time, I'm like, well, damn, bullets just do things you can't explain sometimes, unfortunately. Like that was the case. I was like, this is nuts. Because even when I sent you guys, I was clipping the podcast and I had it, and I had seen it, and so I was like clipping it up, and then it said, "Oh yeah." I'm like, I don't think I've ever once seen it. And you're like, yeah, you have, yeah, I had seen it, and literally I'm like holding the bullet. I'm like, duh, dude, dumbass, you have. I'm like, you have proof of this, but I had totally forgot about it. Then it was like a little memory download. It's like my little hard drive. I pick it up. Oh yeah, I do remember that thing, and even slightly remember. Not that one, but I do remember taking those barrels out there because we have videos of us like shooting those barrels and stuff too. And so I'm like, oh shit, dude, I'm like, dumb. I'm so surprised. But
I'm never going to forget that day because I got terrified when someone shot at the barrel with their shotgun and all those BBs came flying right back at us.
That's what you were saying in the last one too about that, because you're like, someone was like, and you just kept going shooting back, and you're like, hey, and you're like,
that shit's funny, though.
That shit was funny.
I can't believe that.
I'm just glad nobody ever gets hurt when we go out there.
Well, thanks for jinxing us. But
not in our group, at least.
Well, I think I don't know if there even really has been that many, because considering how many dumbasses will just pull up right before they get to the mountain and just start shooting right there, and not even drive up to the mountain and shoot to the hillside, it surprises me that there's not more injuries, because we've even been in areas where you can hear stuff kind of going close by, shooting kind of close by.
It's a fucking war zone out there sometimes, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
4 or 5 of them, right?
Where people have shot over us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so. Fucking Americans. Fucking
probably
goddamn
accident,
guns.
No, it's not. It's stupid people. They don't want to keep driving in because this is their first time there or something. So they stop right at the main entrance road, and they see that there's garbage piled up on the side. So they're just like, "We're just gonna shoot at the garbage," and then they start shooting at the garbage, and someone who grabs a gun that doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and they shoot over the hill a little bit, and that bullet ends up traveling pretty freaking far.
I believe it. I believe people are sheep too, because I see like when we pull up, there's groups of people, and some of them look like they might be scout leaders, and so they have a bunch of kids, and there's like 2 or 3 adults, and I guarantee one adult pulls up, and I guess they kind of have to follow, but I've seen other groups, and I'm sure they do it too, because usually when you talk to a group, that kind of happens. They'll be like, "This is the spot right here. I know this is the spot," and so they're like,
what
"Okay,
the Mormons said too.
Okay, yeah, this is the place." And so like, all right, you know, and so not even being like, "Dude, are we out in the open? I mean, why is there still trails right here? Why are cars still driving by us? Why is what the fuck?" Instead, they're like, "Okay." You know, unknowingly, because I had watched a study where they talked about people have that natural ability to just become sheep. They would do things where they would show a blatant test where they're like...
Well, when you're showing an age gap by as much as 25 years, you know,
yeah,
of course they're going to be...
That's true.
Like, okay, this is the dude that I get the badge from,
that, but
right?
I've seen other
So
groups there, too. But
well, there's that, too, but as little kids, we're not trained to question everybody. It's like...
Especially in the religion.
I feel like as little children, they should be trained or taught to question everything. If you have a question on something, you should ask it, I think, instead of being ashamed. If you're a little kid and you're like, "Why is my scout leader here? Shouldn't we go that way?" The little kid should ask, "Hey, scout leader, wouldn't it be smarter if we went that way?" Instead of being afraid to ask that question, like, "Oh, he's older than me, and I'm pretty dumb, so I'm just not even going to waste my time."
That's how you don't get ice cream at the end of the trip.
That's
Then
what,
that
like,
scout leader needs to be fired.
No, that's not a natural human instinct to question anything. We have like our natural instincts are like animalistic. We're like that's like with that thing where they had these tests of people where they would just be like, which line is bigger, and then they would have the entire class like they would be the smaller one and they'd be like B B B, and the one person would be there because all the rest would be actors, and they'd be like, well, no, it's A. That you can easily see that's longer. Every single time when the whole group was like, no, B B B, they'd be like, who thinks it's B? And the whole class raised their hand. Didn't matter. The fucking other person would be like, raise their hand too. Just take the wrong answer because everyone else did it.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. Like, we should train people as like little kids to not be.
Yeah, it didn't matter the
followers,
age
be
limit.
leaders.
Like they just like that was the thing. Like that was just I think because
Group mentality overpowers single.
I think it is like the alpha male thing where they're just like, oh shit. Well, I shouldn't say alpha male, but like the leader alpha, if you want to say. So someone's like comes to this, oh, this thing knows, because I do that, you know, if it comes to something with information, like, well, I haven't done this as much, you know, they're pretty much an expert, they must know, I'll take it. And that's probably exactly like what they do. They're like, oh shoot, they must be right, you know, so I'll raise my hand too, because really in that sense, even I think myself, I'm like, no, I would be like, oh, no, I think it's A, and just be, okay, explain to me, why is it wrong? But at the same time, I think sometimes, like you're saying, there's like that group mentality. No one wants to be singled out, so they're like, "Oh shoot!" Even
I agree, and that sucks. I think it's a down, like a negative mark on us.
yeah, and I don't know why it is. I mean, we're natural group animals, but I don't know why solidarity sometimes or being alone is sometimes frowned upon, or maybe too much alone time.
I can tell you why.
Because when you're alone, you're just
Social
you have
media.
a higher chance of fapping.
Social media, Facebook. You write something bad that other people don't agree with, you're going to start losing friends.
Oh yeah,
That's probably why I don't have any friends on Instagram.
You haven't been posting enough freaking
I haven't been posting
topics,
enough, so they
controversial
block
topics.
my ass. Bastards.
No, I
not like
believe
you're
in
trying
that,
to
though.
make some people mad. Just if you don't agree with something.
I could see that.
Like, well, I saw your post
But then I blocked
on
you,
one of our
so-
friends' Instagram, I think it was. Yeah.
Was it a super
Where he
hot model?
No, he posted something about making guns like really hard to get,
oh,
and how you have
shit,
to
I didn't
re-register
do that.
them every year, and all this and that. And I was just like thinking, I should write something, but that's a waste of my goddamn time.
It is, especially when after I wrote it, I was like, that was a waste of time. But then even more waste of time after I wrote it, I was like, dude, I spelled it wrong. But then I knew it was even more of a waste of time because I was like, oh, what about, because they were talking about gun posts and stuff. And I was like, what about knives and guns? I spelled knives wrong. And so I was like looking at it and I'm like, God, I even spelled it wrong. And then I didn't care enough to go back and like literally like within seconds. So I posted a second later, I noticed it was wrong. And I could have edited it, but I was like, yeah, fuck it. Just kept scrolling. It's like, whatever. Like, because, I mean, it just goes... Yeah, knives and cars, that was it. Because, like, they're like... They're talking about, in order to get a gun, it should be a year process. You know, if you've had any criminal record, there's, like, certain bannings. And, of course, you can't buy certain, like, assault rifles or certain type barrel ammunition and stuff is outlawed. And it's like... You know, of course,
They've already done that.
I would say with more rules and regulations, that just makes it harder for the. It sounds stupid because I hate that cop out of like because a criminal or whatever. But when it gets to that point, they're gonna get it. You know, unfortunately, it's illegally if they really want to do harm.
Yeah, that's not going to stop the one dude that buys them and resells them.
The one thing I want to point out to people is, take Mexico for example. It's illegal to have guns in Mexico. It's illegal.
Unless you're an American
That's
citizen.
why.
And guess
freaking
what,
people get
dude?
killed,
There's
dude.
still people with guns running around. Like, I don't get it. Like, what the fuck?
That's America's fault. But
That's
honestly,
America's fault.
I blame it on our freaking media because you know how like 6 people control all the media sources. Which is I find to be crazy,
I got
but
something to talk about.
Fake
Media.
news?
Keep going. Sorry.
I was gonna say with that media thing is the Tide Pods, like that Tide Pod thing.
That's just freaking retarded people, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I'm
So like a
seriously,
year ago, it came. Not even a year ago. It was like 4 months ago. It came out that it was in.
No, hold on. That's not retarded people. Retarded people actually don't do that stuff.
That's true.
It's people who are, you think they're normal. They're just dumbasses doing it.
Yeah, want attention. Because in that,
so
dude,
true.
it was 82 cases or 80-something cases of people reported to poisoning thing that a child, possibly someone had tried to eat a Tide Pod. compare and like, well, I guess so. The news took it and they're like, oh my god, people are now eating Tide Pods. So from that time that story ran, it was like a month or a 2-week period or something of the month. In that time period, there was 148 reported Tide Pod cases. The next week was like 198. The next one was like 189. The next one was like 150 or whatever. So like it had went up by 500-600%.
So you think the news is spreading? It's like a virus.
Yeah, it got publicated, and so then it became a thing. But the vitamin, like they said that like it was 780th on the reported thing. More people had called and reported that their kids had been ate too many vitamins and choked on them. Like it was like 40,000. You know, it was like so small, but they knew it was going to make news, and it eventually caused news because then Tide made Tide Pod, and then the guys like Gronk's like no, and then everyone started making videos of them eating them.
So would it be better if news was actually fake and they only reported on fake stuff that was good for us?
I think it would be better if it was like Weather Channel. They just you just see it. They just report it and stuff, and there's you don't even, they're like, oh my god, this happened.
No speculation.
And then all of a sudden you're like, dude, what happened? And then, holy shit, and then next thing you just you catch it as it comes. No one says anything, no one it is. You see it how it is. Everyone's like, do you see that on the news? Then you can tuck between each other.
Well, let me tell you about my Friday night. Okay. So we went to drop my daughter off so we can go on a date, me and Erica, and we get to my mom's house, and she's watching MSNBC.
Your daughter's watching MSNBC?
No, my mom is, and I was
like, damn, dude.
She's like, light my cigarette.
And I was like, why are you watching this crap? And she's like, I watch it every day from 5 till about 9:30.
God damn, she's
and
dedicated.
I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's getting good. And I was like, I literally like had to walk away for a second because it's like what are they called? Novelas in Spanish, but they're like a daytime soap opera.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what like I got from that. She loves watching soap. She watches Days of Our Lives. She watches, Young and the Restless, and she watches MSNBC. That's what it's like. And she was like, oh yeah, it's getting good. This guy just indicted 13 people from Russia or something like that.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, oh my goodness, you gotta be shitting me. So I can just imagine the hundreds of thousands of people who are keeping that fucking station afloat because they speculate and they, well, this guy said this and this and that and this. And
like, yeah, you think of the people like...
It's ridiculous,
Like
dude.
The Washington Post. It was out of business at one point, right? And then the guy, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon dude, bought it. And then he's like heavy political. He has a $600 million contract with the CIA with his new Alexa program. And he's also a chair member of like some kind of technologies organization at the Pentagon. And yeah, he owns like the Washington Post and stuff. And so it's going to be crazy to say, like, because you do see it's a little bit more liberal influence, it's a little bit more, I guess, that speed and less,
on purpose.
Yeah, almost you would because you're, and then you don't. They're not going to be putting some. You see the ads pop up out there more of how Jeff Bezos became the new richest man, all that kind of stuff. You start seeing selected posts a little more so than kind of what would be subjective, like, which I kind of like how Reddit is. They say it's like, the front page of the internet, kind of what's trending or what's whatever is popping up, and then if you're like, this trending front page is fucking garbage, get out of there. There's a gazillion subreddits. You go into your one little niche, and like anything that even happened that day, somewhat around, people are your own news source, and they can influence your own opinion and click that on there, and it's like, oh wow, I can just watch it. And then the active conversation between people, you can't really hide behind a moniker. I guess you can hide behind a moniker, but you can still interact, Whereas if the news, they just blatantly say their opinion, and then, you just, how you say it, you just sit there for, if it's 4 hours, and just be like, oh, well, yep, I guess that's the way it goes. Depending if you watch fucking Rush Limbaugh, where you might be, I hate this guy, I hate this guy, I hate this guy. Trump, 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 or the vice versa. You watch.
And the older generation isn't on the internet. They're not doing any research. Yeah. They're getting their news the same way they always have.
Are we in the middle generation?
Now.
What are we,
right
Generation Y or something like that?
No, we're millennials.
Or not?
No, we're a little bit older than them.
No.
It's a little weird, too, with the generation thing, because our time right now is much different. Really, if you want to even, I want to say it's going to be, especially in our history books, because I think we were talking about it earlier, how people want to have their name in history books so they can not feel maybe left out, but I kind of feel that we might have already kind of hit that little point where they're going to be like, oh, before the common era, before this time. Now I think they're going to have like before internet, after internet. And so I now view that as a time in our lives where
it's going to be like BEAE 100.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, it's a new era. We're going to start from zero.
I think that was a changing point because I love watching the old. Have you ever seen like the old videos of
like
people,
the Romans fighting?
No, the old people in like '98 and shit. Remember when Windows 98 was coming out? Ooh, you watch that, you can play freaking Minesweeper and shit. Oregon Trail on there. I can type a few things. Here we go. And then all of a sudden, you're getting those discs in the mail. I think we were talking about that. And I was watching on
free AOL.
Yeah, you're watching the old ones in like Windows 95 or it's like, I guess, 95, 98, and they're talking about it on the news. They're like, what is this internet? Have you guys heard of the internet? It looks like you can find us. It says, he's like, little A with a circle symbol. I thought it was at. Is it at or about? I don't know. That's what I thought it was. It was about. They're like, what is this internet thing anyways? Like, no one even had concept of it. When little, like, God, I mean, even now, they're probably, you see those same, because I think it's like Al Rucker and all these famous people. Now you see them, you can be like, yo, you can catch me on Twitter, Instagram. I do my live cast on Fridays. And
they have a younger millennial doing all their
and all the social media.
And all that shit.
18, freaking, even less than that. I've seen videos of, I think it was on Vox or some weird channel like that, where there's like 16-year-old kids working for these multi-million-dollar companies making six figures running their social media. You're like, yeah, well, more power to you, I mean, because technically they're like, even if you were to come to them, you're like, well, shit, I'm older than you. I'm 25. I know Instagram. I've used it for like the last couple of years. And the kid's like, yeah, I actually downloaded the app about 5 years ago. I've been active with this many followers for this. It's like, holy shit, dude. You're like an expert at this. Yeah, it's like, oh, wow. And even I was actually talking to that with someone about that kind of with school, with job experiences, where how you take a job, because I've already kind of done the different jobs, but I kind of find them almost as you would look at it like a degree. You go and do something for 4 or 5 years, and then if you were to leave, it's never going to be like a waste, of course, because you've learned all that experience and you've done all that extra stuff, and you basically came away with, it would be if the title of the thing, and so even if you don't, like, there's so many people I know that will go and get a degree in engineering or business management, a lot of times even just a business degree or something like that, and then just work some weird job that has nothing to do with that, become like a manager of Home Depot or something, just because it required a BA.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah,
I got a degree. Oh, that's good enough.
And it's so weird. But like for me, I feel like say you were gonna say if I were gonna use mine, I did electrical work for 5 years. Was one of my first careers and everything. Even went to schooling all the way up to journeyman electrician, and didn't do it and stuff. But still, I have that skill. I can do that to anything. And I would say it's still a degree. But it's weird because I couldn't take that over to do. Like construction management, and be like a foreman of a job, because they'd be like, hey, you need to get a construction management degree. Yeah, I have 5 years of that, which would be more years than you're actually doing that. And I've done it with like a specialty field, and I've worked with those people, and so I've had the experience. And so it's like, oh, I know that job, I can do. That's why I would apply for this job, because I feel like I could do this and learn the stuff that I hadn't learned on the job easily because of already what you gained. And so in my mind, you'd think, hey, that'd be a good transition. But they're like, no, actually, you need to go sit in a school for a couple of years, read a few different books or whatever, then come back. And even those kind of trades, they actually might make you be like, and then you need a couple years of work experience, which is weird anyways, because it's like, well, shit, I already got the job. But then they want the degree. And then it goes back to that weird thing where it's like, you want those little, well, I want you to be a kid fresh out of school, ready to have this with 10 years experience. Fuck yeah.
The school system?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they should change it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're still stuck in the fucking 40s.
I like the Montessori school setup, how those new Montessori schools kind of do it. You see a lot of private schools that we have.
Where they close up for 10 years and then you come out 10 years older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like freaking Dumbo. You become a donkey and then you come out. You go in there and then as you kind of grow, you learn a bunch of these basic things, but you take something that you enjoy. So I remember doing one when I was doing electrical work, and we were wiring one of them, and we did a few other things around the park, and they started bringing kids to school. And they'd be like kids out there like hammering nails in wood and stuff like that.
Were they wearing safety glasses?
Fucking, I don't know.
They better have that. They're wild cards. Fucking violation.
Mm-hmm.
they were worrying more trying not to get ash all over their work site from their cigarettes. So they're just looking for shit, leaning their head to the side, trying not to spill on this. But they would be like hammering. They were like, "What the heck are they doing?" But they have basically even with recess, or I think it's even a class period time, that where there's something that they're interested in, they take the time to specifically help them in that. So you see a bunch of kids where if they're like 5 years old and they're like, "I love watching PewDiePie, I love making these little game videos and stuff like that." Well, besides the core curriculum that they have to, basic skills, they actually teach life skills. So more like I think managing numbers and things like that, accounts or whatnot, and as math or vice versa.
That's what I wish I had.
Yeah, those kind of things.
Retarded when it comes to that.
And then on top of that, you get to go study a little bit of what you would like, or what you find interesting. And so sometimes school doesn't seem crazy for kids. They'll be like, "Oh wow, this is cool. I'm learning how to edit videos here." Because even now, like, it's funny, like those skills that I learned in high school, basically I started doing it my junior year. I started editing videos a little bit because we started filming them, and all the old ways we've edited videos was basically pause and record on camcorders. And then basically junior year, I started seeing this computer where I can use this, Adobe Premiere, what's this? Start chopping and doing whatever. Oh, what the hell? Senior year, almost all year round long, I just do those multimedia classes, photos, videos. 1 year, that stuff in high school. And I guess I've done other stuff, but to this day, like, that's still probably one of my better talents, and that's where I've learned, like, all the core stuff. Everything else I learned, just from doing it. Making the media and all that.
That's what happened to me in 3D animation as well when I was in there learning. The first year I came in there was the first year they had it. And, the second year they had it. And we were learning, and I got pretty good. Most of us got pretty good at it, and we were all basically learning from the startup. And the thing that really, destroyed me, which probably was my teacher's fault, shouldn't have said it to me, was no matter how hard you guys try, every generation behind you will be 3 times more advanced than you. So the generation behind you will be 3 times more advanced than you. Your generation behind them will be 3 times more advanced than them, and so forth.
It's because he gave up.
I think he might have, because he was even saying, he's like, "Yeah, I'm even looking for a new job going somewhere else because the guy that's going to be taking my spot is 3 times more advanced at teaching this than I am."
And he's half my age.
Yep. And I was just like,
with that attitude, you're right, you scum.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it sucked because I
bowl.
think he might have ruined a lot of people in that classroom by saying that. For sure, me, because I was just like, shit, dude. But the thing that kind of kept me optimistic was I was like, well, does that make me 3 times more advanced than the guys that were in front of me? And he's like, well, in a sense, yeah, but there's only 2 years in front of you that, have been doing this. And I'm just like,
I was just like, give me my A, mic drop.
No, I ended up going to the fucking competition at the college, on a college level. And the only reason we lost was because they didn't like our texturing, but fuck those teachers.
See, I think that would be fun, or more, even when I got to think about it now, getting to go to GTI a little bit like that is more viable. You got to use way more of those skills. And I feel that would be so much more beneficial. You, with now having, the daughters that would... wouldn't you want to send that? Because even now, I was thinking,
honestly,
I would want to homeschool my
thinking,
kid.
But whatever she wants to get into is what I want to push her to get into.
I want to be a Navy SEAL, Dad.
Fuck yeah, I'll throw her in the water right now.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. But then I was like, God, you got to force him to do something. Also to force him because
But you gotta bring out the ice cream flavors. You know what I mean? I want to put her in basketball. I want to put her in wrestling. I want to put her in jiu-jitsu and boxing. We're pretty much set up for boxing now, but
cause that's what I like.
She's only 9 fucking months old.
That's pretty good, though. Have you seen that right hook on that kid?
She's already got a good she started from the base, ground up. So
oh, she's mean.
Dude, remember she knocked Brick out the other day, dude? That was funny.
He just has a weak chin.
Because I was thinking about that. I had heard that on another podcast where they're talking about this guy, Valasy Lomachenko or whatever, that boxer dude, where he wanted to be a boxer and everything, and then his dad, I don't know if his family did or something, but he's like, oh no, you got to do dance too or whatever. So he made him do so many years of dance, and then he can do boxing. And so he used it as a cross training, and he's one of the most elusive, most technical boxers and stuff. And he probably can dance like crazy.
Professional football players take ballet lessons.
And that's what I also was wondering. I was like George St. Pierre, because when he first started, before a lot of UFC fighters started doing random cross training, he was one of the first where he came out and would be doing gymnastics. What the hell? And it's see Conor McGregor doing all that weird shit, but he would do that kind of stuff. And so you're like,
Conor McGregor had a strong boxing history.
But it's funny how he took on those different things. He started taking, I guess, different approaches, like a cross training. So I was like wondering about that. And I was like wondering if you could like let them choose something that they like, but force them to do something kind of similar, or not similar, but something that would work like a cross training. So like your kids like doing base or like football or whatever, and then be like, well, you got to do ballet as well or whatever. You know, do some gymnastics. What? I don't want to do it, but because then you learn to kind of force them, because you kind of do have to. I think do things you don't want to do.
I think the best thing to do is teach your kid not to hate other people.
No,
that way they won't hate themselves, and that way they'll do the ballet.
I want them to hate everybody. They're like, I hate
you want to become a ninja?
God, what's wrong with this kid?
You've got to hate. You've got to hate your being.
You got to hate that you hate. It's like, I hate that I hate so much. It's a curse. Hate that I'm hating. It's like a freaking hate inception. It's like, all of a sudden your kid's like some kind of freaking guru. Yeah, like H8. You're like, fuck, great.
You're like, God damn, I wanted you to be a freaking super awesome ninja warrior, and you became a freaking guru.
Yeah, you ever think you could do that stuff? Like, I'd watch the videos of that guy training his little daughter to do a Ninja Warriors course or whatever. He put like the pallets and made the wood stuff for him. Just start doing that kind of shit every single day. Get him to like be a super athlete at it. But then at the same time, I wonder if all of a sudden they get to age 16, they're like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not a ninja warrior.
It could
you're
happen.
like, oh fuck, they resent it, dude. They've been doing it so long, they're burned out already. They want to like do something else.
That's where you freaking brainwash them into becoming a ninja.
Club them and toss them in a freaking river and then have a new child.
Well, let's start again.
They're like, God, that guy was like 24 years old. He's a man basically at this point. No man of mine. It's like, shh.
Just floating down the river.
Wait, what? Got to give that crime scene song at the beginning.
Bum bum
Bum bum.
Fucking what is it?
We're just giving material for Law and Order, or is it CSI?
Yeah. Those are, but those aren't murder though, aren't they?
Law and Order?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are.
Crime scene.
Well, unless they're special units victims.
There's a special unit, special victims
unit. Because they'll do special stuff.
Dude, so my little sister loves watching that shit, and sometimes I end up watching it with her, and I'm just like, dude, the cops, I feel like they seem super, on the victim side. Regardless if there's an insane amount of evidence against the person. Like, they're always like, no, he's the bad guy. It's like, but there's no evidence. No, he's the bad guy. It's like, why is he the bad guy? He looked at her wrong. It's like, what? And the dude's like in the holding cell, and they're like beating him up. And I'm like, well, how is he the bad guy? You have no evidence on him. And she's like, he's just a bad guy. He fucking looked at her wrong, and she said he was the bad guy. I'm like, okay. She said he was a bad guy, but you have no evidence. There's absolutely no evidence on him. And you're beating the fucking dude to death. Like,
how does it end up?
How does it end up? Not being that guy.
Oh, yeah, that's what I hate about Law and Order, because they'll do that the whole time, pound the shit out of some dude, or they're like following some person, harassing them. All of a sudden, like the last minute, they're like, he's not the guy, we got the DNA. What? And then some guy, random fucking cop will walk by with some dude in handcuffs.
RT.
This is them. Like, what the?
See you next week.
Well, the one I was watching was like, apparently like
twist.
2 kids and some girl. It was like in some fucking prestigious school or some shit. And like the way they become cool is they have to lose her virginity or something.
Whoa.
And the one girl, she was still a virgin. So like what she did is she talked to these 2 guys. She's like, meet me at the bathroom. So we're going to go in there and like do it, you know?
That's how you become cool.
And that's how you become cool, yeah. And so she does that. And then the janitor comes into the bathroom and he's like cleaning. And all of a sudden she like freaks out and runs out of the bathroom. And the janitor like walks over there and he sees the 2 guys in the stall. And her those 2 guys run away, and she's like laying in the stall crying, saying that they raped her. And then, so the cops find those 2 kids and like, no, dude, it was all consensual. Like, she sent us text messages. There's text messages and everything. And there's even a fucking video. Like, so she tells the cops, she's like, no, they fucking forced me in there and they pulled me in there and they raped me. And there's a video like out in the hallway where she's waiting for them to come to the bathroom. And they still are blaming the kids, the 2 kids. And I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? What does this place come to? Seriously, like, there's a camera footage of you standing next to a car. Someone else walks up, steals it. You have to know
your audience.
And everyone's like, oh, you were there. You're basically a part of it. It's like, dude, I was smoking a fucking cigarette. Nope. Camera says you were right next to the fucking car. You're guilty as charged, bitch. Get in a human cage.
Oh, yeah, well, that's that thing with that Me Too thing. It's becoming quite a bit of a thing, because now almost accusation is being as good as guilty. Me Too. That's people that, I guess, putting their hand, or not putting their hand up, but putting their foot down, I guess, or saying that they had...
They're coming forward to, like, that they were, like, something bad happened to them.
Yeah, they had been touched or something, sexually assaulted or whatever, I guess.
So don't forget about me.
Kind of. Like, Me Too. Like, it happened to me.
Because it was like a way that all of a sudden all these people started hashtagging Me Too, and they're coming out with their stories being like, oh, I was done this, I done that, someone done this to me.
They wouldn't be saying I done that. They'd be saying something.
Yeah, it would be like, hashtag Me Too. Hell yeah, dude, I totally did something bad. Like, whoa, wrong way. And he's like, oh, I thought that's what our Me Too effort was supposed to.
He's like, yeah, I did it back in 1984, man.
But it's crazy though, because that Me Too thing is now changing even our laws. Like, even if you're at all part or victim of any type of sexual assault, now it has to be reported and like publicized. And I'm not sure about publicized, but it has to be. You can't hide your information now. You can't. A lot of ways where a lot of people sometimes wouldn't come forward, they could still report it or something, and they could just kind of be like, "Oh shoot, yeah, it happened." Well, now you can't do that. Even if you want it or not, it's got to be known. And even the people, if they can figure out who it was, if it was some kind of dorm room drunk altercation, they still have to report it, and with both people and stuff like that, just to even make claims. And so it's kind of coming crazy, where it's almost, I feel like we're going to get to the time because they're like, oh, it's Sue Happy, this person's doing that, this person's doing that. It's going to be where everyone's going to need their own fucking lawyers, and you're going to need to like kind of, be able to do anything. You're going to need someone to be able to back you up legally, almost, it seems. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, I read a little meme comic the other day where it's like this guy and girl, and they're getting undressed as the comics go by. And then all of a sudden the lights go out and they come back on, and the guy's like laying there in bed, and he's like, that was the best sex I've ever had. And the girl's like, I changed my mind. And he's like, what? She's like, that means you technically raped me, so you're a rapist now. And he's like, what? Because it's... And then someone's like, hey, that's exactly what happened to Aziz.
Oh. You take that meme to the next level. It's like, I'm not a rapist. It's like, all of a sudden a knife comes out. I'm a murderer. It's like,
dude, take it. Dude, and then...
That's the next stage,
you ever hear...
That's what they say.
There was a fucking... I think someone posted on there, too. It was like a comment. In for a penny, in for a pound. Or some shit like that. You know how that goes?
No, what is this?
So it's like... Let's say you go to a grocery store and you take a candy. And they're like, all right, bucko, you're coming to jail with us. And it's like, well, why am I going to jail? It's like, well, you stole a piece of candy. It's like, well, what if I stole all the candy in the store? And then they go... Well, you'd still go to jail. So what's the point in stealing a penny when you're going to go to jail if you steal the whole store?
Exactly, dude. You got to do a heist.
So that's what you, because like,
go bigger,
because you
go
were
home.
like, because you said you were like, all right, turn it, like, you're like, I'm not a rapist, I'm a murderer, and you pull out your knife.
Go bigger, go home.
Yeah, go bigger, go home, basically.
Oh, I shouldn't even laugh about that because it's like, it's so crazy. And that's one of the issues I kind of am having a little bit with the Me Too thing, because even... It sounds bad to say it like that because all those things, every single one of them have a place to be told where they all have a significant, meaning and stuff. If you're in your church or whatever and you walk by and one of the priests slap you on the ass and gives you a couple winks and you're like, oh my God, this guy's going to like try and touch me. I think that's a little bit different than being like, yeah, dude, the priest pulled me in the back and freaking... start playing with my winky and then put it in his mouth. Like, there's a big gap from that, like, to that one where you can be like, well, that guy's still a creep, so we should make sure we, like, follow him as a creep. Man, this guy's doing whatever. But then there's people that do, like, an assault that's, like, straight up an attack, And sometimes I feel that people put it in the same perspective, like a girl being like, I was drunk at a party and some guy, like, yeah, we totally made out. I was not ready.
Case, like the
compared
priest,
to getting forced down.
The priest one, you can prevent it. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. If those little boys need to not dress so fucking sexy, or
like
whatever.
if you,
that's exactly what people are saying.
That's what they tell the freaking people, right? Don't dress so provocative. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, no, you can prevent it by saying, hey, that guy slapped my ass. That's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's true.
You get rid of
right
him.
at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
When you say
snip it in the bud, but
I think people also confuse it with being uncomfortable because as a race of people where it's like that, what is it called? Within the first 3 seconds, you know if you're attracted to somebody or not.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, dude.
So
like,
now,
if you get slapped in the ass by an ugly, fucking filthy dude,
let's say he doesn't even slap you in the
pissed.
ass. Let's say you just look at him and he's looking at you and you feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Is that
but
enough
if it's
to be
Ryan
like
Gosling and he slaps you in the ass, you're gonna fall in his arms.
But I'm not talking about slapping you in the ass. I'm just talking like being in the same room as them.
Well,
some people feel creeped out by that, and they're just like, "Oh my god, I think he's probably going to do something weird."
know.
It's like in an alleyway. Let's say you're walking through an alleyway, and there's like a couple dudes with like beards and fucking bandanas on their heads, and they have tattoos all over and chains. What's the first thing that's going to run through your mind? These guys are probably going to murder me here.
Those are my homies.
Probably okay for you, maybe, but for someone like, let's say, like a woman in her like 20s, she's walking through there. She's probably thinking the worst thing in the world going through her mind. But in reality, those dudes are like probably the freaking nicest guys you'll ever meet, and they're just there because they're on their spare time helping a soup kitchen, and they're out on their break or something. Like it's a human judgment where automatically we're jumping to the conclusion like these guys are creepy and they're probably rapists. And
But if you don't want to be
seen them in
treated
the
like
alleyway.
a guy with a tattoo on your face, don't get a tattoo on your face.
What if you like that, dude? Then you can't express your fucking will. You can't express yourself
I'm
because
just
other
saying,
people
dude.
are scared. Like now what you're doing is you're taking someone else's right away to put a tattoo on their face or wear an earring or fucking wear baggy pants because you're feeling uncomfortable. Now I have to change my life because I can't have a tattoo on my face because it's going to make you feel uncomfortable.
You can have a tattoo on your face, but you know that there's going to be jobs you can't get, right? You know that there's going to be people looking at you
because those
funny
people are
because you have a
fucking
tattoo.
judging you and they're assholes and they're the ones making this fucking
That's the
whole
the cross you have to bear.
That's a society's game, dude. Do you want to play or not?
But that's not right though. What you're doing is you're excluding one group. You're excluding
You're right.
some people for
it's
other
not
people.
right, but if you want to be part of this right group or not part of the right group,
There is no
it's
right
up to you.
group.
This right group doesn't have tattoos on your face. If you want
you're
tattoos on your face, you can live in the woods.
If you're excluding yourself from one, if you're excluding one group from another group, you're the one causing divide.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, dude. Because we are us. It's like, actually, I heard somebody say that to me because I was talking to them, because I was like, you ever going to come to America, visit America? And they're from Brazil, and they're like, I've been to America, but South America. Because it is America. Americans always say it's America, but they're all Americans. You guys are really U.S. And I was like, well, technically it's just the states of America, if you look at it. The reason they kind of did that and kind of how it is now is because they wanted to take priority of the Americas. That's why we have like military doctrines over it. I'm like, it's kind of oppressive if you think about it, but that was kind of the way it's set up. And the U.S. thing is a thing that is kind of newer, but I think that people have been pushing it more because at least now I'm hearing it like a lot of these places like Brazil,
Well, the reason
even a lot of the European countries that talk about the Americas, they say it that they call it the Americas, and then they started calling it, oh yeah, you're the U.S. Instead, that's where they got like UK.
Well, yeah. The reason what I heard,
People
the
don't
reason
like
they
us to
call it
say
the
America.
USA is because, for instance, like Bosnia and Herzegovina, there's two countries in one, right? And technically, each state is its own country, but they're united into forming one country. Kind of like Yugoslavia was Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro, all those guys, right? They're all independent, but they're all together, so they're the Federation of Yugoslavia. So instead of being the Federation of the United States or whatever, or the Federation of America, we're called the United States. So every state is its own individual entity, but we're all united under one flag.
Mm-hmm.
So
Republic of Texas.
yeah. So technically we should be called like the United States of Arizona, Colorado, name off all the states individually.
No.
Because we're all independent, but
That's
we're all
too
under
small
one flag.
time, bro. Small time. All right, we're looking big time, all right? We got the power right now with this pen that we can just start saying that from now on that the Americas, we're America, bro. And then you just write that on a piece of paper and then everyone starts saying America. I'm like, dude, like you can...
So America includes Canada, U.S., United States, fucking Mexico, Brazil, Chile, all those people down there.
I think that's they tried to. Like, because it was actually called the Americas in like the 1500s or something. So I think when Portugal and them, after they first started claiming it, they started calling it the Americas. And so it's like North America and South America. And America was, since it was kind of newer there too, before the other ones, they claimed it as actually the states of America. And they were, I think, wanting to go out more. And so they're the first ones. And so as forefathers, that's why we started being like, well, because even when you look on the Declaration of Independence, the United States is small, and then it's like America, like that's the big one. So we're Americans, there's America, and it's like a thing that was an American thing where we're like, oh, America. where I think it was something that was pushed forward, kind of like what is an American attitude, like, oh, this is kind of, we're all, this is all us, we're freedom, this is, everything's ours kind of thing, everything's freedom type shit. And
damn, we got stifled then, huh?
yeah, well, because even with our military complex, like that's why with Russia and them, like with a lot of the USSR, even though they've changed their names, like that's why they have military sovereignty over that. And it's kind of like with us, anything that's kind of with the American name, we have military sovereignty over, kind of because of World War II, and we ended up getting in those positions. But it was a weird, I feel like a narrative where it's like as if all of a sudden we named our kid, hey, you're number one champion. And they're like, hey, is number one champion here? He's like, yeah, what the hell, everyone's like, and he's like, and if he took that moniker, yeah, I'm number one champion. Goes through all the school, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? Why do we call him the number one champion? But he all of a sudden becomes the number one champion. You're like, fuck, dude. It's kind of like, he's like that weird self-proclaiming, and that's kind of like, I feel, where they did, but now, as it's getting older, with the UN, and because like the NATO forces is actually like Canada and America, which is technically who owns sovereignty over the entire North and then South America and everything. But it's kind of, I feel more of like it was just a title to gain oppression, but then when now are they like, oh no, you're U.S. Not because the Americas are all Americas, you can't take title over all these Americas, because a lot of these countries now, like Brazil, Argentina, Mexico and stuff, are like, no, they're Americas, you're the United States, there's other places.
So couldn't something be built in Mexico and just say it was built in America? Because technically it is built in North America.
That's what we do with a lot of things.
Damn.
Car dealerships, military bases for sure. That's one thing I was kind of checking out. Military bases are the craziest one. The United States has so many military bases, and with that military, I'm not sure what doctrine it was, but with that military sovereignty, I think if you live within the northern or in Southern Americas, you can build a military base, but if you're outside of them, you can't build a military base within any of the Americas. So it's like an American thing only. That's why like Russia has been really pushing for Cuba and things like that, because it's one of the original bases before that treaty was signed. And that was a similar reason why America was pushing for the Black Sea and Ukraine, because that was one of the only ports they could have. Now, it just pushes the powers that be further away. And then at the same time,
I think we all need a common enemy. Like aliens need to come down, dude, for people to unite.
That's what I was like saying with the thing. I'm like, I wish that we could just like the stupid. There's like a border, because it would be better with no passports and stuff. Like, oh yeah, that'd be nice. It's like, yeah, it would be. So let's just take the nicer thing and then we can move on. Oh yeah, that's not how it works. Why? We all agree it's nicer. Wouldn't that be nicer? No passport, just go. Here we go. What's the next frontier? But like, that's not how it works. But, then you could just say... I kind of like
passports, because then you feel kind of cool when they stamp them and you look at them and you got stickers.
Oh, you like division, huh? Well, then keep watching the Olympics. Don't worry about the new fake moon landings, or not the fake moon landings, the fake Falcon launch. And
that was real, dude. I watched it on the internet.
Dude, you watch...
I saw that car flying in space.
I seen that car in space.
It's all CGI. You can easily tell.
No, that was all CGI, dude. You can easily tell. Even Elon Musk was like, dude, you know how you can tell it's real? Because how fake it looks.
I know.
Like, you motherfucker, you told us.
It's kind of funny how that works. But it is interesting, because that would be a thing you think we would be worrying about. Like, let's go to the next... Let's go to Frontier. Like, the one I'm still stumped on is, why aren't we going to the moon? Let's go to the moon. Let's go to the moon. Because even
they're already on the moon.
Well, that's the thing. We thought like, the China people say that China's on the moon. They've already been on the moon. China actually came out and said that their early reports were like hoaxes. They hadn't gone to the moon until recently. And then with their little satellite, this is one of the first rovers that they've ever landed.
That's what I'd say if I already had a fucking...
Yeah, but they look so crazy, dude. It freaking looks like Mars to me, honestly. It looks like... I feel like our rover's on the moon, but they're trying to say it's Mars. Or something like that. Because it just seems funny, It just seems funky, the whole setup of it all.
I think it's on Mars.
Yeah, have you seen the moon one, though, for the Chinese rover? It does look a little different, but at the same time, it seems so similar.
Oh, where they're, like, matching picture in picture. It's like Mars rover, moon rover,
Mars rover, it just seems... I don't know, and that's the thing that blows my mind. Is like, we're going to Mars. And I'm like, why not the moon? Like, what's so wrong with the moon? Like, whatever, you're going to have to create a new habitat or life or a livable space for us on Mars, because there's really not that. Well, I guess they found a little bit of water, but similar with the moon, you're gonna have to do the same thing there. Why not practice there?
Because there ain't no water on the moon, right? So they can't start anything even if they wanted to.
But apparently, there's a bunch of resources though. Fuck water, bring the water. Get the resources.
Just get a really long water hose.
Because I feel like that would be a thing to work on. I mean, most of the planets we've come to find are technically inhabitable, right? So why don't we learn how to live in an inhabitable planet, create a, I don't know, dome that we could live on, and all the people can, if, you know, to keep them from trying to get crazy, we'll just kind of try and keep them going so we can populate this planet. We'll keep them inside the dome and just tell them that, you know, they're on a globe of their own, that they're on their own planet of Earth. Then once we get the technology better, we can expand them a little bit. We'll say that there's new colonies, and then they'll have them finding new areas of it, you know. And I don't know if that could be a theory too, but why don't we do that? You know, why don't we colonize like that? Why don't we just like...
Why don't the people who actually have money on this planet do something with it?
Dude, they are doing stuff with it, saving it up, buying a yacht 1 foot bigger than the next person's
Buying different
yacht.
sleeves.
Dude, do you think freaking it's cheap to get Miss America to blow you every day? Dude, it costs like freaking $100,000 each day, dude.
Dude, after like 10 days, she wouldn't need you anymore. She's got $1 million. Why would she need to blow you anymore? She's a millionaire.
Because, dude, at that point, you're just like...
At that point, you'll release the pictures.
You're like, oh, I was being...
At that point, she fucking says you're a rapist and you go to jail and you lose all your money.
Well, at that point, you're like that... It's like freaking how Donald Trump right now is getting in trouble with that one stripper, how he paid her $150,000 extra to keep her mouth shut, that he'd been paying her to, like, be her prostitute or whatever way early on. And she's like, okay. But she talked about it in a book already that came out, and so it was, like, too late. But, like, that was kind of... You know, I think when you get to that level...
Every time I hear something about that guy, I just think, what if Barack did it?
Yeah, but because what if you get to that level and they don't say anything?
What if Barack did it?
What if all of a sudden, yeah, she's like, whoa, shit, man, I've been doing this for a couple months now. I'm like almost as rich as, I'm almost at like a couple $1 million
I
heir.
could get a pretty good lawyer.
Yeah, I'm a millionaire. And then they're like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, we were giving you the money to like be nice and stuff. It was like kind of giving you the money to leave. But you coming here, you don't have a choice. You can either take the money or you can leave the money. But we'll see you here tomorrow. And it's like, oh okay. Because I almost feel like that's the way that it kind of gets pushed into, because they're like, I feel like when we're talking about that, you get to that level of power, like the Elon Musk thing, he spent what, $100 million or $500 million or something on that?
160 for what?
For that SpaceX. Like, there's like hardly a few people that could do that shit.
Didn't he get government funding for that?
I don't know.
I heard he got like $300 million.
I thought he took government agencies or something.
I think he did get a fucking, god damn it.
Government grant?
A government license with the Air Force or some shit to make another Falcon rocket for them.
Maybe. Freaking he sells fucking flamethrowers now.
For real?
Yeah, it's his
Did
new
you see?
thing.
Did you see the tarp covered fucking trailer carrying one of his SpaceX rockets to the Air Force or some shit? And people are like, what the fuck is this? And it's a big ass rocket covered tarp thing. Does
it look like an alien?
Dude, it looks weird, but big old semi trucks carrying it.
He's got to pay the next...
Well, that was very expensive. Cool. And even, too, I watched an interview afterwards. It was kind of sad because, like, the SpaceX thing, he was, like, doing it, and then Buzz Aldrin, all those, like, crazy fucks were like, oh, this is a travesty to space. Even, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson in that were kind of like, this is a waste of time, all that kind of, like, talking shit on the SpaceX program. And then the guy brought it up in the interview to Elon Musk. He's like, how does that make you feel that, you know, they're, like, shunning your program? And he's like, honestly, that's the one that hurts the most. He's like, I grew up watching, like, these guys, you know, and, like, oh, man, they went to the space. And, you know, whether they did or not, it was great to see them doing that kind of stuff. And then to hear them, now that I'm like out there trying to promote space, you know, and the final frontier, then to hear them say they don't like it and they don't like the things I'm doing. He's like, it actually kind of hurts. I was like, dude, that's got to suck because he spends so much of his money, like, literally.
Well, that's because he's taking their jobs, dude. He's taking their jobs. They're getting paid twice as much as he is. They're spending 3 times the amount of money on rockets to send up just half the amount more of... Because there was this chart that was saying they would spend like $600 million to send up like 32 tons. He spent like $166 million and sent up 15 tons. Yeah, so it's like,
shit like that.
If he spent as much money as they did on rockets sending shit up there, he'd send 4 times as much stuff as they did. And
he'd bring the rockets back.
Yeah, and he'd bring the rockets back, save the money on the rockets. What I think is funny,
he was saving money doing that,
is so North Korea's shooting these rockets, right? And
fireworks.
And they're a country shooting rockets. And Elon Musk's a private fucking person. And he's shooting rockets into space better and further than they can on his own dime.
Unless you think that could be propaganda, dude. I don't know. I kind of don't think North Korea's real, but I feel like that's...
What do you mean you don't think they're real?
I think it's fake, dude. I think they're like...
Fake news?
Yeah, it's so weird to me because even the places you go, you know, I bet I feel like there's only probably like just the soldiers and the few people that live there that are in like the slave camps. and then like the fake oligarchies that are there. That are like I think it's some form of thing for testing.
I
He
feel
says
like
he's
it's
got about
real
1 million
as fuck,
soldiers.
only because of the Philippines and Thailand. There's crazy corrupt people out there, you know.
Yeah, that was so crazy.
So there has to be, you know.
Because I do believe, because I had seen the videos of them like in all those Russian camps, because there's a ton of those camps in North Korea and Russia, so they can get supplies because they don't have no space to grow supplies or whatever. But like I don't know, for some reason with them shooting the rockets and stuff, I almost feel like it's either some kind of
Show?
yeah, to show that they are like, oh, we're bad, we're bad at shooting rockets, you know. Look at us, silly us, stupid silly us. Because now you've seen all those things with like the missile warnings and the nuke warnings and stuff. They've already had 3 or something. Like was it 2 in Hawaii?
In Japan?
Or it was 1 in Japan, 1 in Hawaii. I want to say it was 2 in Hawaii.
The ones in Hawaii were fake.
But then they had another one on
news.
their side, and so the people are thinking that it's they're calling it fake news because they don't want to say, because a lot of the people say that they had seen explosions, heard explosions, that they don't want to say that they actually stopped attacks. They just want to say, oh, there's no attacks. Because Russia or America has a similar setup like the Israelis do with Iron Dome or whatever, and that's
like
how
a child throwing a ball at you. You're not going to go punch him in the face. You know he's a little baby, you know.
But have you
He's not
seen
gonna
when those
hurt
domes don't protect with the missiles?
Because I'd seen videos of people had
Or it's
videos
like,
of time lapses, and they had you could see things in the back where it looked like people were like, oh, just like it looked like testing whatever, but the rockets that they were showing in the videos, one of them would be like moving sideways like it would, like an anti-air one aircraft would. So it's like it's trying to judge where the rocket's going to be. So it's like so people have recorded like these weird little explosions, but like yet one side of them looks like it's like a defense missile.
Yeah, my buddy, I have a couple of friends who live in Israel, and I was talking to them over the Discord back, I want to say like 2-3 years ago, and when the dome was like super active, and he said just go online and you could watch videos of the dome the Iron Dome defending Israel, and you can actually see it. There's like rockets flying over the top, and what they do is they scan the rockets, they calculate the trajectory, and if the rocket's going to land into a lake or somewhere where there's no people, they will not intercept them. But if they're going to land somewhere in a public area like a school or something, the rockets will intercept them, and you can see the rockets intercepting the other rockets in overhead, and they'll try to intercept them so that the debris falls into like a river or somewhere where there's no people. So there's like all this math going on, and then you could see them like fired from different areas and detonating up over the town. This is actually on YouTube. You can go and watch it. It's crazy.
That's why I would think, like, what would be crazy to think, like, we didn't do that kind of stuff, you know? Because
and
even from Hill Air Force Base, they have a response time to the West Coast.
Isn't there like NORAD or some shit like that?
Yeah. So I know that ours will have
defense.
It's like 7 or 10 minute response time to the West Coast. So like they can get a plane from here to there in like 10 minutes, you know, max, which is psychotic. So I would feel like
yeah, think about that.
Well, yeah, there will be a guy in a jet within 5 minutes of anything happening.
It's so true,
you know?
which is...
He's already outfitted, ready to go.
But it's interesting because at what point would they, too? Because at the same time, I guess I've just been also in the weird conspiracy realm. So I've been listening to this one kid posted a bunch of these videos about flight trackers and stuff. And so in like the last year, now that they've made, because they've been recording everything and doing all kinds of stuff, and then a lot more of them are public, these guys clip together a ton of different flight trackers where they start trying to call in planes and things that they think are the planes, but they're like, this is not one. And he's like, oh shit, can you see this one? He's like, 2468 to whatever, where are you at? And it's like, we're over here. And they're like, I'm seeing this thing, it's mocking my speed, blah, blah. And they're like, it's 278 or whatever, blah, blah. They're like, no, I'm not seeing it now, it's gone. And they have like a ton of those things where there's like, and so I don't know, if it's a stealth jet from which I feel like a lot of the UFO sightings and things like that people might be calling inside planes are actually other militaries, so like Russia, maybe even North Korea, other military planes coming in there.
I don't think America would let anybody fly over without contacting them.
But you think they're that good though, dude?
Yeah,
I mean, I think we're like good, but at the same time, Like that's what I think the Roswell thing was. I think the Roswell was a fake thing. I think it was spies.
It could have been.
And then they're like,
honestly.
just let it run with it. They're aliens, bro.
Back
It's like
in
the
that
UFO,
day?
and they're like, it's crazy. Yep. These guys don't have anti-gravity machines yet. They're not using that special technology that those Nazi German freaking scientists were trying to do.
I could believe it back then, and when Roswell crashed, I could believe it being, Russians or something or another country. But nowadays, I don't think so. Just because, like, the other day I was listening to a fucking YouTube video of two, what are they called? The F-16, the Falcon 16s or whatever, fighting the MiGs over some country over in the Balkans. And they were like 30 miles out from these two other fighter jets. And the U.S. airplanes are like, all right, we're gonna leave them. So they like bank left to get away from these guys. And the guys lined back up with them. And they're like, all right, we're going to bank left again, and so we're not on a head-on collision. And they banked 5 times trying to get away from these other MiGs, and the MiGs kept mirroring their every move. And the MiGs would mirror their every move, and you can hear the tone in the F-16 pilot's voice. Because he's like, all right, well, we got 2 bogeys, like 36 miles out, and he's like, we're just going to turn, and so, they go their way, we'll go our way. They turn, all of a sudden they turn with them. He's like, all right, we're on a head-on collision again. The aircraft control tower is like, you are on a head-on collision 20 miles out. And he's like, okay, we're going to switch. They turn to another direction. The aircraft control tower is like, you're on a head-on collision again. They keep mirroring them. They're like, the MiGs are following them. And all of a sudden, the guy, he's like, all right, they're 15 miles out, 10 miles out, 9 miles out. And the pilot that's flying it, you can hear in his voice when he like starts freaking out. He's like, 4 miles out, 3 miles out. He's like, visual contact confirmed. I could see them. And then all of a sudden, one of the MiGs gets up behind one of the other F-16s. And he's like, he's on me. He's on my 6. He's like, oh, okay, I got him. And he's like, fire, green fire, green fire. And he blows up one of the MiGs in the sky. And then they kill the other MiG too. And he's like, okay, let's get the fuck out of here before they send more people up. And the 2 pilots, they didn't know what the fuck was going on. They were just doing their routine flight. But then they ended up engaging 2 MiGs and destroying 2 MiGs in the sky. But their demeanor was from super calm, we're just taking a little flight, to we just destroyed 2 airplanes. The other guys in the MiG survived, though. They called their parachutes. They were like, yeah, we just did their parachutes.
What the hell? That's crazy. I was going to say they're lucky it was only MiGs instead of some kind of crazy thing.
No, it was just 2 MiGs, but just how they came out of nowhere. I gotta go to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Well, shoot, maybe we'll just end it on that. We can all play a game of swords. We'll wait for pizza to get
Swords.
here. Yeah,
Sword fighting.
Oh, yeah. I'm down for that.
That's what we'll end on. We should really work on reduce, reuse, and recycle. So we're going to save a little water. We'll use the same toilet and keep it going.
I hope we take a shower together.
So in order to reuse and recycle, go ahead and use those Amazon links. Find us and listen to all the old podcasts as much as you want. Go ahead and loop them. Yeah. But I guess we'll catch you next time.
Hey, remember, someone loves you.